I hope this is loud. Let me see. Hey everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm setting this up, sorry. Yes. Hey Chuck. Chuck is in the building. Here we go. Let's let some people. Hey Mike. All right, good morning, everyone. Before we start, and I'm going to get Chuck in here really quick, I just want to say happy Tuesday. I hope everyone is doing very, very well. Before I start this Instagram live, it would not be right for me not to make some mention and send some love to the late and great Malcolm X. Today is Malcolm X's birthday. There's no question the amount of strength and the amount of just knowledge and power that Malcolm X has placed on us as a community, as a culture in the world today. So shout out to Malcolm X. Today is Malcolm X's birthday and my cousin Diamond. And I am still sipping on my Buddha tea. I'm drinking CBD Tulsi Ashwagandha. It's so good. If you haven't checked out my review of the tea, check it out on the video on my page. So before any further ado, I'm going to bring Chuck in. Hey, Bubbles. Chuck is coming in.
What's going on, Mo? How are you?
Hey. Listen, first of all, let me just say I am so honored. This is Chuck's very first live. This is your first live, right?
I don't do lives, only for you. I don't do I don't do lives at all.
Honored, 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 honored. Oh my goodness. Look, and we got Biggie in the background. I love your artwork.
Appreciate it. Thank
Are
you.
those original paintings?
Original paintings.
Talk to us about that. Who are the artists? I'm a huge fan of art.
Sierra Lynn. I don't know
Oh,
if you know
Sierra
Sierra Lynn.
Lynn. Yes,
She
yes,
did
Sierra
all
Lynn.
that
Shout out to Sierra
Basquiat.
Lynn.
Me in the middle, Biggie on the other end. So
I love that. Sierra Lynn is really dope. I follow her work. She's from DC. Dope artist, really dope artist. So you guys, I brought Chuck in because Chuck is just an amazing, amazing guy all around. Solid dude, but just like so knowledgeable, not only in life, but also in, the industries, music and entertainment and commercial world. So Chuck is just always like, he's, first of all, I'm gonna just keep, I'm always gonna keep it 100, but first of all, Chuck and I got introduced by a mutual friend, only to find out that we are family.
yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Isn't that
That's
crazy?
super crazy. But that's how you reconnect with family. You never
Hello.
know. You never know.
You never, never
Never
know.
know.
And we got introduced because Chuck is very influential, not only in the DC area, but just in other markets in music and business. And so with me pushing Bungalow Music and Arts Festival for the teens, I got introduced to Chuck. And Chuck has just been pioneering me in this whole movement. And even though it was postponed and it's crazy because with the whole COVID thing, and I was going to redo it. I was going to actually do the whole thing again this spring, and look what happened. Do you know what I'm saying? So things happen for a reason. But
Absolutely.
anywho, that's how Chuck and I got introduced. So I want you, Chuck, to introduce yourself to everyone and just let us know who you are before we jump into a conversation.
My name is Charles Keys. Most people call me Chuck. Some people call me Keys Open Doors. Depending on how you know me in DC or wherever, that's what they call me. I basically say I do brand management. So I work with music artists, but then I also work with brands as well. And really my goal is trying to figure out how we can connect the culture with corporate America in a
Mm-hmm.
way that we not getting jeopardized or, I hate to say, hoard in the situation. It's kind of like, how can we get our just due in
Mm-hmm.
a world that isn't really set up for us and the culture? It's like everyone
Absolutely.
takes from the culture, but they don't always give back to it. So that's
Mm-hmm.
really how I try to play my part.
And I like to piggyback off of that. And that's exactly what, I think the message that Jay-Z was getting across with his management company, as far as managing not only artists, but managing ball players and baseball players and just people's brands in general, because people take on these big contracts and they're not reading in between the lines, and they take on these contracts and sign these contracts and don't realize that they're actually signing their entire life away. And, another late great, well, not another, but a late great Nipsey Hussle, I feel like that was his whole agenda too, is about owning your own property, intellectual property. So Chuck, for me, is like the DC of the, that guy. Do you know what I'm saying? So talk to us a little bit about how easy it is for not only artists, but brands to kind of, why is it important for them to have someone as yourself to help steer and guide their branding and their management?
I think because I'm still connected to outside. And a lot of people don't understand that it doesn't matter what school I went to. You got to be connected to the people that understand ultimately what the people will want. So a lot of times you can have a degree from Harvard, but that don't mean nothing if you can't correlate and you can't talk to people and formulate a complete sentence to even understand what's going on with the community. As you know, Black culture is king right now, king and queen, So a lot of people want to play in that world, but in order to play in that world, you got to understand us. So I don't mind helping you figure out how I can work with this artist or how this brand can connect to this city or whatever it may happen, whatever it may be. I just want you to be able to understand the culture, because if you put the culture piece in it, that's a product that we can stand by. And it's not too many products that aren't made by us that we really can stand by. So it's kind of important for us to like connect the things that make sense to us.
And what is the difference? Like, what is the difference? Or how can you see a difference in artists or brands that don't have someone maneuvering their culture into their entire the scope of their brand, opposed to just going in and not being inclusive with the culture?
You can tell it just feels generic. You feel it. And one thing with us, everything is off energy with Black people. We are strong people. So if it doesn't feel right, we don't really believe in it. And sometimes they try to force feed it. So you'll see a million ads about something. Perfect example, Allen Iverson. We all can relate to Allen Iverson. Everyone has somebody in their family similar to Allen Iverson in some. Reebok didn't have to do much. They just embraced who he was and let him be him. And that's
When
why.
you say similar to him, what do you mean?
So as Black people, we've all had a family member that played basketball. It could have been you or that person. We've all had a family member that had trials and tribulations. We all come from mamas and daddies who work hard to get us to that point. And in Black culture, we all came from a neighborhood where we had to do what we needed to do in some sort of way to get out. Allen Iverson, it feels relatable. So in turn, that's why it was easy for Reebok. If they had put him in a suit in the beginning, it would have been whack. Like, we wouldn't have understood it. They let Allen Iverson be him.
Right, right. And I think a huge takeaway from that is for us as a culture and as a people, Black and brown people, is knowing our worth. You know what I'm saying? Like, we give these companies their dollars. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a comment that there's a lot of feedback. I don't know if it's
Hold on,
from.
I don't have nothing else on, but let me check something. All right, let's see now if it's better.
That's from Ricardo. Ricardo. Crazy. We went to school together. We met back up with each other at at the store.
Yeah, that's my guy.
That guy. I think the only thing is now you're sideways now, Chuck.
Can you see now better?
Yeah, that's it right
there. Reverb off. All right.
Okay.
Cool. He said that's better. We good to go.
He said that's better. See, our man got our back. He got our back. Okay, so we going back to that conversation about us just as, as a culture and as a people knowing our worth. And the black dollar is the richest dollar in this country.
Mhm.
Not only in this country, even outside of this country. Like I'm gonna take, for example, for dance, right?
Mhm.
In the dance world, in Asia, Asians love rap. They love our culture. They love our music. They love our dance. They pay top dollars to bring influencers, and they pay top dollars to bring choreographers from, the United States to come over there and teach their kids and their people how to dance like us. So it's a lot about us knowing our worth. Talk to us a little bit about that, about actually like knowing our worth as a culture.
I mean, really just believing in yourself. And a lot of times, the best way for you to believe in yourself, I personally feel like you have to isolate. So for me, you have to drown out the noise. So everyone can give me a million opinions on what they think I should do. But if it doesn't resonate with me, I just won't do it. And I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people have to be comfortable in listening to themselves, looking into that mirror and believing in them. Because a lot of times we follow and subconsciously don't even realize we're following something or someone. Sometimes you got to like drown out the noise and just listen to yourself. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's really a big part of how I can like move the way I move, because I've never been dependent on someone else per se.
Yeah. Yeah. And talk to us a little bit about how you move. How do you outsource talent? Do you outsource brands to get behind, or do they come to you? And what do you look for before you say, okay, I'm going to work with you?
Both. It has to make sense to me. So when I work with artists, I don't work with the artists that everyone wants to work with. I work with the artists that make sense to me. I watch the
Why not?
production. I watch because it's just like it's like the stock market. It's like anyone can grab the artist that has a million followers. That's easy. I want to work with the artist with 20 followers who has really great music and willing to work to get to where they want to go, because it'll be an easier transition in the long run. A lot of people don't want to work to get to the point of where they want to go. So for me, I like working with people. I see the vision. It's like just like you can predict the stock that's going to go up, you can watch trends. For me, I look at artists, and if their work ethic, they might not even be the best artists at the time. But if they're working at it and they love what they do, they're going to get better. You just got to wait it out.
Mhm. So that's about, to me, what it sounds like is about um, building relationships, not only with yourself, but with people and your following, and taking the time to actually put in the work, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Talk to us about, someone asked a question. Talk to us about the importance of loyalty and being loyal in this game.
Loyalty is key. So my friends are my friends for a reason, and a lot of my business partners are my friends. But it just didn't. How can I put it? I'm all about helping others. So, for instance, if somebody watching right now, Salim, whatever I'm doing, he's supporting it. Whatever he's doing, I'm supporting it. We help each other. If I go to a meeting, it's no meeting I go to and I don't mention Whimsical or Salim. It's never been a meeting that I ever will go to and not mention him. Reason being, he does the same for me. He could be in Alaska. He's going to tell somebody about Keys Open Doors. So in turn, if I'm in China, I'm going to tell somebody about Whimsical. We met through a mutual friend I went to college with, and Salim's my brother. But it's good relationships are just good relationships. I go off energy. If the vibe is right, I'm gonna rock with you. If it don't feel right, I probably won't even talk to you. But that's just me being me. I can like feel
Mhm.
who I want to be around or who I don't want to be around. And these people are my brothers. I don't even consider them like friends anymore, because we just legit help each other.
Thank you. They said for me to reposition my phone. Let me see if that works at all. Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Let me see how that does with the feedback. Let's see.
We should be
Is
all right.
anyone is that working? Does it sound a little bit better? Let us know if you guys, does that sound a little bit better on the feedback?
We're
I don't
cool.
heard it in the beginning, but I don't hear any more
Yeah, I
now.
don't
Do you
hear
know?
it now.
Okay, so we gonna keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
They said it. Okay, thanks, Casey. Casey said it sounds better. So listen, and going back to your point, Chuck, um, both of us are from DC, born and
Mm-hmm.
raised in DC. So the game has changed as far as
Absolutely.
as far as loyalty and supporting each other, and that's one of the things that I've come across is just like, you know, you go to other cities, you go to Atlanta, you go to Philly, you go to New York, they support each other all day long. They rock each other's gear,
Mm-hmm.
they support each other's music, they support each other's ventures, businesses, and and I'm gonna just keep it. I'm gonna keep it 100. You know what I mean? I don't feel the same camaraderie at home. I'm in LA, but when I reach out to people, and you
Mm-hmm.
and you are one of few. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't feel that support. And correct me if I'm wrong, because you're there more than I am. But talk to us a little bit about that and why you think that has changed or not.
Um.
I think people feel like I think at home. I don't know if it's we also get that whole like crab in a barrel type of
Mm-hmm.
mentality, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of us also at home who have not ventured outside of DC really have not grasped the concept that there's so much for everyone. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to be stingy and hold on tight. You understand what I'm saying? There's like a plethora of
Mm-hmm.
opportunities of people to talk to. Like we don't have to step on each other's toes. But you talk to us a little bit about that because your
Um.
experience may be different.
It's crazy because you deal with that every day. It's like my homies are my homies and their homies are their homies. You know what I mean? But I'm the type in business, if we can work together and make it work, I don't mind being a 6 man coming off the bench if we all gonna win. But I think everyone has to be able to like take that and understand that everyone doesn't have to be the man. We all could be the man or woman and win together. And I
Hmm.
think a lot of people gotta like just swallow their pride. And I think it comes with humility. Like in order to do things, I can't do everything by myself. As much as I want to, it will never happen. So you gotta build with other people and you got to let their talent shine just like they let your talent shine. I know what I'm great at. The things I'm not great at, I got to go to other people to do. But I'm comfortable with that. And I know I'm still great at being me. I'm just not great at that. And I think at home, we just come from an environment where I got to be it no matter what. But in turn, what do you sacrifice in you being it? So I think it's going to change. And I think it changes with me and you, and some
Hmm.
other people, and
Hmm.
even with like sometimes letting outsiders come in, like they not from DC, but if they showing love and they bringing something to the city, I'm cool. If they exploiting it, that's when we kick them out. But if they not, we got to like be able to embrace the good and bad that's coming in because our city don't look like the city we grew up in, you
No
know?
question.
So in
No
turn, a
question.
lot of people aren't going to be able to survive in this environment because they don't know how to act in this environment. And in a
Yeah,
sense, it's like things we did in 82, we can't do in 2020.
absolutely.
But
No
I know
question.
people who were doing things in 82 who have adapted better than I have. You know what I mean? Because they know how to function. So I
Right.
think it just takes time for us to like really have humility, understand that we can work together. No brand is bigger than the other brand. No company is bigger than the other company. We can all work together if it makes sense. Let's just try to figure it out. Like I love home. Like it's like I'm proud to tell people I'm from DC. But on the same instance, I think some people from home need to venture out more because they can understand and see it for themselves. So a
Hmm.
lot of times, if you stay in one environment, you're only going to function the way you know in that
Hmm.
environment. But if you start venturing out, you can see different things from other avenues, and you can bring different options to this area where we are.
Right, right. Also, one thing that comes up for me a lot also is that like, we don't support each other until you really pop off. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? It's like, when Keys opens doors becomes the major label on the level of like, Rock Nation, then everybody gonna be like,
Everybody
oh,
love you.
my man Chuck. Oh, my man
But you
Chuck. My
know
man.
what? They love you now, but they can't love you. Like it's just home. Like
Talk to us
yeah,
about that
it's
because
like
that's the
people.
thing. Is talk to us
It's
about
like
that.
people now. Like it's a million people that like the comment of me being on your show, but you don't see them right now, right here. It's not that
Mm-hmm.
they don't love me, and they gonna tell me. I don't know how they gonna know what's going on, but they gonna say we rock with you. But the thing is, I don't always do things that's considered the coolest thing to do.
Right.
And I'm not always doing the things that people will want me to do. I know how the game goes. I can do marketing easy. All I got to do is put something fly on. They're going to love the pick. And then write whatever I want to get you to buy into it. That's all these brands are doing with Instagram, algorithms, Twitter, social media, TikTok, whatever you call it. They basically shine something in your face to get you to buy in. And then we're all honed in, but I don't do that. It's like, if you rock with me, you're going to rock with me. And you just know you getting the authentic me. I will
No
never be
question.
something that I can't be.
No
And
question.
anyone who knows me will tell you, if I don't like you, I'm not going to be around you. If I don't want to be there, I'm going to roll out. I'm just not chasing nothing. I'm not chasing nothing. Us being family, it just makes sense. But at the end of the day, me and you were cool before I even knew that because I fed off your energy. That's why I
Right.
said people just got to realize you got to look in the mirror, look at yourself, and can you function on your own? I know
Right.
you can stand on your own. No matter what happens, I can watch you stand on your own. People need to look in the mirror and check themselves because then
Yeah.
that in turn, that's when we won't feel jealous of somebody else doing something because we're proud of what we're doing.
No
And that's
question.
really what it is. DC 10 square miles. So we hate everything. We hate everything, but we love everything other than ourselves.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? You know how many artists from other cities, we even using language that don't even come from here. All because
Right.
we've embraced it, but we don't embrace the kid that live down the street who doing the same thing as the kid in this area away that's doing the same thing. So I
Yeah.
think you really gotta like look in the mirror and look at yourself. I think that's the problem with scares a lot of people. They can't look at themselves and be proud of who they are.
Yeah. No
Born and
question.
raised in DC, Washington, DC.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that. At the end of the day, I've been all over the world, but I'm never going to be from anywhere else.
Yeah.
And no matter
No
what, I'm
question.
always going to come home. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm not at an arrogant point where I don't talk to people. I'm humble because it's a kid on the street that I learned from. It's homeless people in my neighborhood that I still learn from. You know what I mean? You gotta like embrace what's going on and just be humble. Like
Yeah.
everyone that I'm around, it's like you got $1 million ambition with no hope. You know what I mean? That's weird to me. So it's like everyone wants to be the man. We got this, we got that. And we can pretend to do it all day because as Black people, sometimes we disguise our insecurities with material things. So, okay, he got this, he got that. That means he's amazing or he's great at what he does. That don't mean nothing. That just means he a billboard. Well, she's a billboard. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, are you comfortable being you? What are you doing to help the world, change the world, or just embrace the world
Yeah.
at any point? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. Wordsmith asked for we talked about the art in the beginning, Wordsmith. I don't know if you were here, but the artist is Sierra Lynn. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll drop that before we leave. Actually, I don't know how to pin, but we can figure out how to pin
Mm-hmm.
her. They asked about pinning the artist. And then
Absolutely.
Casey made a real good little quote phrase for the day. She said support is an action word, right? And and you know, to that and to what you were saying about being authentic and staying, knowing your lane. And like me personally, I've always been a free spirit, you know what I'm saying? Oh, good
Mm-hmm.
looking out. The history of who for dropping Sierra Lynn's IG name. That's the artist who did the art in the back. um I've always been a free spirit. I've always just moved how I move. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like you, born and raised DC, uptown. I got family
Mm-hmm.
all over DC, right? But I'm proud of being born and raised in DC, and I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have the foundation that I've had to be able to to move around, not only just, coming to LA, but I've lived in other countries and all kind of stuff. I wouldn't be able to have that foundation if it wasn't for me being raised in DC and my family and everything, right? But at the same time, when I come back to DC, like when I came back for the festival, I didn't get the support that I had here in LA, right? Like people here in LA, when I did the festival here in LA, Bungalow Music Arts Festival for the teens, and it's for youth. And for me, the vision of this festival, you already know, was to create a platform for youth to be able to perform, with entertainment artists and industry artists that were above their level so that they could go ahead and see what that feels like. You know what I'm saying? Give them a Coachella of their own. I came to you, when we were introduced, we talked about it. You got the vision just like that. You got the vision just like that. And you immediately were like, oh, connect. Let me connect you with this, connect you with that. Hey, Gene. And out here in LA, when I was reaching out, 92.3 and, iHeartRadio, got the vision just like that. Anybody that came and spoke on the panel at the festival here in LA, I offered monetary, monetary means and food. It's for the kids. Oh, we're there. Just tell us a date and time. Anything that had an issue, there was an issue, if anything, was the scheduling, and that was it. Other than that, the artists came. I had top writers from, major TV shows, Insecure, TV producers, film producers, casting directors came, no question, for the kids. It wasn't the same when I came home, but I don't want to focus on that. What I want to focus on is I want you to share with the people that are here and that will watch it later, the importance of building relationships, number one, and the importance of being true to yourself. I know you touched on it a little bit before, but the importance of that and staying true to yourself when building your brand and connecting and building relationships with people to move your brand forward.
I think you should just build with like-minded individuals so you can feel it, and people are chasing, they chasing clout. I'm not chasing clout. I'm chasing what makes sense to me. So this person can have 10 followers on Instagram, but their brand may correlate with my brand perfectly. We gonna build together. And if I got 3,000 Instagram followers, I'm about to help you get yours up to help you out, because it's not always about what you can get from someone else. It's about how you can help someone in long term. And that's how you build relationships. So all your relationships shouldn't just be oh, I need this from someone in turn. They just make sense. If you all have like interests and it makes sense and they're as hungry as you and they willing to work, you can work with them. A lot of people are chasing that brand or that team or something that they feel is out of reach. That's why a lot of people never connect anywhere, because they trying to catch. I know 1 million kids is trying to get signed to Rock Nation. But I know 50 managers in DC. That'll go hard for them right now. You know what I mean? So it's like everyone's looking to get there, and you can still get there, but it's people that are close to you that can help you. So really building your relationships is just being around genuine people, being able to listen. I think listening is very important, because if you don't listen, how can you understand or really know if you really want to be around that person? A lot of times we talk so much, but we don't listen. So a lot of times I'll be in a room and probably say 20 words just because I'm trying to understand what's going on. And before the end of that meeting or that conference or whatever it is, I can pick and choose who I want to network with. Because I actually listened to what they were saying. So I can hone in on certain points. And when I talk to them, they can be like, wow, he gets it. But a lot of times we go into things thinking we're always the teacher. I'm still a student.
Right. Be the
I'm
student. Be a student.
you know?
No question.
I think I'll be a student the rest of my life. You know what I mean? But I'm cool with that. And in turn, I take what I learned and I give it to somebody else. That's how you pay it forward.
Yeah, no question. To add to your point, it's like a quote. I don't know if it's from Will Smith in particular, but It has always resonated with me since I've heard it, which is you're as great as the five people. You're as great or as bad as the five people that you hang around and
Mm-hmm.
communicate with the most. And
Mm-hmm.
energy is real. And the fact that, you're building your brand off of how you feel and the energy of the people that are around you says a lot about you, because at the end of the day, you are pulling people on your back. And when you go in the rooms and you talk to these brands and you talk, try to get art, you're getting artists signed, or you're getting artists pushing artists, forward. How they work, how they walk is going to affect you,
Mm-hmm.
and what they do in their life is going to affect you too, business wise. At the end of the day, it's entertainment business. There's entertainment and then there's business. You know what? And while we're on that point, talk to us about that. Talk to us about the difference between it being entertainment and then it actually being a business. Because I think a lot of, not I think, but it's almost like if you're not really in the trenches and you haven't been in the trenches of it for a cool little minute, you just ready for the
Man,
glitz and the glamour and the money. You
the
forget that it's an actual
the
business. You know what I'm saying?
business will
Talk to
make
us
you
about it.
not the business will make you not want to do what you do. You got to really love it, because the
Why
business
not?
because ultimately whatever you're doing, someone has invested in you or put money into you, and in turn they want to get reap the benefits of the money they invested in you. And sometimes the stars don't always align to where they make sense to them, in turn to feel like they got their money back. Even with like music, sometimes unfortunately you sometimes are a product, and if they can't sell that product, in turn they will get rid of you. And that's the realest thing you got to understand in this. And you got to be strong enough to believe in you, because sometimes it might not be your first deal that's your blessing. You might think it was a blessing. It might be your fourth deal that people finally understood who you were. Or with
Mhm.
me with brands, I could think this brand really understands what I'm trying to do. And in turn, they use me just to get a black face to say, oh, I had a black face to work with us. And they let me do nothing. Or it could be in turn where it's a great relationship and we're really getting things done. So the business that I'm in is stressful.
Mhm.
It is lonely at sometimes, because who can you talk to? And a
Mhm.
lot of times, if you're talking to your peers, you have to make sure you're talking to the right people, because they won't understand what you're actually going through.
Mhm.
I don't think too many people understand what it really means to be an entrepreneur, and what you got to deal with to like grind to get to that point.
What
And
does that mean for you?
yeah, like the trials and tribulations, not getting paid for 3 months, figuring out how you're going to do these different things. And with me, with a business, I have a business. So no matter what, I have to deal with everything that goes along with
Yeah.
that business. From
Yeah.
dealing with the IRS, I done been through it
Yes.
all.
No
But at the end
question.
of the day, I'm glad I'm doing it, because I'm still comfortable in who I am. It's just a
Mhm.
matter of the business of music, the business of marketing and branding, the business of anything is usually not as great as you think. Even if you're an athlete, playing basketball, the easy part. The business of playing basketball is the part that people don't always understand. And that's the difference why you got a Michael Jordan, and then I got a dude from my neighborhood who I thought was Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? How it didn't
Right.
relate and he didn't make it, only because he didn't understand certain things that went along with the business of basketball. He just knew one part. So
Right.
I think really it's a tricky game, but it's a blessing in the same instance if you built
Yeah.
for it. You gotta
Yeah.
have tough skin. You're gonna have many nights where you think you want to quit. But I think you should just keep going and just keep fighting for what you believe in, because my goal ultimately is create the environment you want to exist in. I
No
say that a
question.
lot. So I know the parts of the game I don't like. So I'm
Mhm.
trying to get to a point where I can change it. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
really where I am with everything, with music, with marketing. Like some of these deals that some of these artists are signing are so crazy. They don't even understand what they sign. Next
Yeah.
thing you know, they making money. And of course you made 10 million, but the label made 70. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so it's
Right.
like so many different things that you learn. And then some things you learn on trial and error,
No
because you
question.
don't know. So sometimes you got to be the sacrificial lamb in order to help somebody else in the long run. But in turn, it's no manual that can tell you how to do what we're doing. I tell people some days I might have a plan where I might have a 3-month plan. And before you know it, by month 2, I'm winging it. Because everything that I thought was going to happen in 1 and 2 didn't happen. And now I got to transition.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think the blessing of what I'm great at, I know how to connect people and I
Yeah.
know how to connect things. That's why, I know how to hook you up with Whimsical to make sense with your festival, because that's
Right.
a friend of mine. I know how to talk to Ricardo about his clothing line and figure out how he can be in different demographics as well, because he
Right.
already killing in DC. The whole point is, all right, he's moving out and he's doing other things. He got
Right.
people buying clothes for him all over. So it's just a matter of being able to look at something and figure out how you can branch out. And
Right.
I know so many different people that are doing so many different amazing things. I think my goal is I can kind of look at what they're doing and try to add
Mm-hmm.
to it. I think that's
Add
really my
value.
gift. Add value
Mm-hmm.
to it. That's my
Yeah.
gift. I'm just good at looking at it and saying, let's do this.
Right.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But at the end of the day, they know I put my all in trying to help them.
No
And I
question.
think
No
that's the
question.
best thing you can do in any of this.
Yeah, and the other thing too, it takes a selfless person to in your position
Mm,
to not only be able to do that, but to want to do that to help someone. Do you know what I'm saying? Which says a lot about your character and your morale and your ethics as well. You know what I mean? And going back to the note about business,
mm,
the difference between understanding and knowing your business as an entrepreneur. And when I say
mm,
entrepreneur, it can be
mm,
an artist, it can
mm.
be a sport, into sports or whatever. But the difference between knowing and understanding your business and not, for me, is longevity. Right?
Mm.
Because if you don't like you said, you can have a contract and you could be signing your entire life away. And you can have a $10 million deal, but you really only going to be getting 3 to 5 million out of
Mhm.
that. And then what happens, right? So, and after that, what else are you doing to maximize your brand? Are you going into different markets? Are you
Mhm.
talking to different people? Are you not just putting your eggs all in one basket so
Mhm.
that your brain can actually multiply for longevity? You know what I'm saying?
I think you got to be
For
able to
me,
like reinvent yourself. That's really important because
talk to us about
as
reinventing
times,
yourself.
as times change, you need to be able to adapt and reinvent yourself to what's going on now. So what I
Yeah.
did in 2010, I can't do in 2020. Even the
Mm-hmm.
music game that I came up on understanding is totally different because it's all digital now. So you got to understand everything from YouTube to, you know what I mean? Like it's so many
Yeah.
different things that get people streams. It's like the music game is totally different. So it's like I had to learn everything over from what I was taught in the beginning. And that's a learning curve because now a computer can dictate if you're considered dope or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's really crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Where it might be a million people that like this artist, but socially they might not be there. So you don't understand that they have this many fans. And then you got
Mm-hmm.
artists that really aren't that great, but they're out here so much socially that it looks like they're bigger than what they are. And you got to
Yeah.
look at the games that Instagram is playing to make you think an artist is bigger. If you hear a song 95 million times, eventually you'll go listen to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
everything is correlated into different algorithms to make you understand certain things, even
Right.
with TikToks and what song do you hear all the time constantly? Even with Blueface, you heard his song so much.
Yeah.
Like no matter where you go, he was on memes, he was on all
Yeah.
these different things. Who do you think orchestrated all of that? It's like
Right.
they can make you something that they want you to be if they pick that for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the true art of being an artist. How can you like differentiate with who's actually this and who's portraying this on social media? Because
Yeah.
now social media can get you a deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
Social
Oh,
media can
listen.
get you a deal.
No question. Listen, my daughter, she was, 2 years ago, she ended up, they ended up writing her into the show, TV show,
Mm-hmm.
but she went to 5 producer sessions
Mm-hmm.
to be the lead in this show. And the producers loved her. And I'm talking about they kept, they were calling her manager and me
Mm-hmm.
personally. And you know the difference when someone is just kind of like brushing you off, like, oh yeah, you did a great job. No, like they loved her, but at the end of the day, they went with a choice of an actress who had a huge social media following, like huge social media following, and the actress didn't even have as many credits as my daughter. It was a great lesson for her, and this is game that I talked to her about, and I have coached her on throughout our entire career with acting and stuff. It's like you got to move with the motions. You got to understand that it's a game, and you play the game, but you don't play yourself,
Mm-hmm.
but you play the game and realize that don't take it personally. You understand
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Like she didn't, whether or not she got the role because she was more talented than you, I don't know. We don't know. And of course, if we go by what the producers were saying, like you were uber talented, you're
Mm-hmm.
super talented, and they really wanted you, but they went with someone who could push their numbers up. And business wise, that's what made
That
sense
made
to them.
sense to them at the
It
time.
made sense to them. You
And
know what
that's
I'm
when
saying?
you like want to know, is it about quality or is it about quantity?
No
You know what I
question.
mean? Like you really,
Yeah.
in all honesty, sometimes you really want to wonder, like now, is it really about the quality or the quantity or the consumption of how much they can get you to consume? In turn, how much money can they really make? And that's where
Right.
you really have to try to like find your balance and figure out what you can do to be true to yourself. And that's why I said sometimes you gotta shut this down. That's why I never did an IG live before. It didn't make sense for me to do a live. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like if we weren't
Yeah.
talking about, I don't want to get on. I feel like if you give people so much information and you're not saying anything, they'll never listen to you. So when you speak, it
Yeah.
should have meaning. So whenever
Hmm.
I speak, it should be something that has a meaning to it. Even and everything you put out here, someone can copy, they can hold it for later. So once you put it out in the world, it's no taking it
That's
back.
it.
So,
No
I
question.
wanted to like make sure my first live made sense to me. Like I'm
Yeah.
not just kicking the shit, excuse my language,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's crazy, I mean, it's funny because your daughter is blessed, is gonna come to her, and at the same time, that same director will come back to her. Because that's what's gonna happen. Because when you look at those numbers, if it didn't make sense to you, or it didn't make sense to the people that gave you that budget, they're going to say, why didn't you go with your initial person that you went with? And
Yeah.
that's when the game get tricky, because it's like sometimes the good gotta wait. Unfortunately, it's like
Yeah.
you're waiting for your turn. And in a crazy world, it's like the game. You could easily make it where you could just make sure she get it, but you
Right.
don't want to do something that goes against your integrity of who
Don't
you are,
compromise.
to
No question.
compromise. And
Yeah.
that's what I battle with every day. It's like, I don't believe in that. I can't really move and do these things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I lose a lot of money not doing what the status quo sometimes wants me to do. But I
Yeah.
sleep better at night. You
No
know what I
question.
mean? So
No
I think a
question.
lot, but I'm telling you, like sometimes I'm like, did I really say no? Or sometimes I bring so many people in because I want to help so many people, and they're like, no, I just want you. And I'm like, no, that's not going to work, because I'm
Yeah.
not great at this, or I'm not great at that. I'm great at
Yeah.
one thing, but these two other people, they can help with this, and I'll split it with them 3 ways to make it work.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
no, we don't want to do that. So
Yeah.
sometimes that's when it get tricky, because I'll turn it down, because all money not good money. And
All
sometimes,
money, not good money.
if it's bad, or it's going to make me look bad in the end, or it doesn't represent my brand or what I believe in turn, I got to let it go. And I do that with everything, relationships, anything. If it
Mm-hmm.
don't make
Mm-hmm.
sense to me, I can't be around it. I might love
Yeah.
you. I might love you from a distance, but some things you just got to understand in life, you grow out of, or you transition from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you got to separate. It don't mean that I won't do anything for you, but it's like sometimes you got to be selfish. And I think that's something I'm learning. Unfortunately, like you got to be selfish to a point where I'm going to do this no matter what. But that can sacrifice a lot in your life to
Mm-hmm.
get to that point. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really what I like face. If you want to know what my biggest trial and tribulation is being selfish, because I don't believe in being selfish. I feel like everybody can eat. So I'm the type, I don't care if you're the face, even if I did all the work, if it makes sense for you to be the face. I'm not here to be, I feel like you can be overexposed. You know, if you like show yourself too much, you could be like overexposed. So I want to be like 90 years old and still can do everything that I'm doing now. I don't ever want to get to a point where I'm like used up, if you get what I'm saying. So even with things I do, I'll do something with you that I might not do with anybody else. Or I don't go to every event. I go to the events that make sense to me. Because when you
Right.
go to everything, no one appreciates you anymore.
Yeah.
So I pick
No
and choose
question.
and I move this way because it helps me brand myself. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I
Oh,
tell
no
people,
question.
it's people that see me out of town more than they see me at home.
Yeah.
Just because the way I move, I'm like, if it doesn't make sense, I can't kick it with you every week doing
Yeah.
nothing. It gotta make
Yeah.
sense to me for what I'm doing. And just everything, I feel like tomorrow's not promised. So everything you do is calculated, whether you want to admit it
Mhm.
or not. And in life,
Mhm.
I'm just trying to live a life where no matter what day I pass away from here, I can say I live my best life. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? That's so true, Chuck, because you know, even me, I mean, I've been out in LA
Mm-hmm.
for over 15 years
Mm-hmm.
now, right? And when I come home, or sometimes I come home, I talk to people, they be like, "Oh, well, you've been out there for so long. I never see you at this event. I never." And you won't. First of all, you won't see me at every event because I don't need to be at every
Mm-hmm.
event. I go to what makes sense for me, or if I just want to go because I'm invited, I'll just go. But I'm not hopping to every event because it's so easy to get distracted. And it's so easy to lose focus and lose sight of what your main goal is. And let me tell you something, when these producers or, music, when they go to events, they're not going to events to sign an artist. They're not going to events to book you to
Mm-hmm.
be for a role for their next movie. They're going to socialize. You know what I mean? So, and you know how many people they're meeting in addition to you? You know how many people are introducing themselves? They're the next new this, they're the next new that. So it's like, it's easy to get washed up. I know out here in LA, it's easy to get washed up and it's
Mm-hmm.
easy to get drowned out by, what we call the noise and, being in everyone's face all the time. And to me, it's like, it's exhausting. It's also exhausting trying to keep up with all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's
But
like,
you're comfortable being you, and that's what's, this is the whole conversation what we're getting to. We're both saying the same thing. Mo, you've
yeah,
always been comfortable being you. I've met people that knew you years before I even knew we was related, to know you have always been comfortable being you. That's why you're not chasing nothing. You know what I mean? And that's why you'll
yeah,
win. It's like you're comfortable looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, this is who I am, this is what I represent, this is me. Everyone can't function and live like that, and that's why they're chasing different things. You chasing the right opportunities that make sense to you. You're not jumping on
hmm,
every situation, and that's why your brand is strong. I always say less is more. I might do two things in a year that people publicly know,
hmm,
but those two things make sense. You won't forget them. Some
yeah,
people do things every week, but it doesn't make sense because it doesn't have any holding power to it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I'm not here for doing everything.
yeah,
I'm just here for doing the right things. And
yeah,
I think that's really where we are. And like even in DC, I think we gotta like be more DC, because we're small, we gotta treat it like a boutique.
yeah,
We gotta treat it like we are a boutique. Like we gotta stop playing ourselves. Like the worst thing I hate about home, and we can talk about this, every Howard homecoming, every artist in America comes to Washington, D.C.
hmm,
How many of the artists from our town actually get showcased during that weekend in Washington, D.C.?
right,
You know what I mean? That
yeah,
bothers me. That
yeah,
bothers me because this is the time to show that we have talent on a bigger stage because
no
everyone
question.
is here. But we don't do that. Even shows like you can add an artist to that show. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Because we need that. Or even with brands, it's like sometimes I'm the type that'll work with a brand that makes sense to me, but sometimes it's like we're fighting to get our just due in an environment at home, but I can literally come to LA and I have a million meetings.
A
You know
million
what I mean?
meetings, a
Like
million,
always.
and you go back home and people don't even know. I mean, I moved the same way. Like people don't even know you've been out of town for 2, 3 days or 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And no one will know how many people you know. Like, you know what I mean? Until they see if you post a picture with somebody, be like, oh, then they on the chuck wagon, they on the chuck wagon. It's like, oh, and it's like, nah, I'm cool. You know what I mean? Like you don't know who's in my Rolodex. You know what I'm saying? You
And
don't
that's
know
the
who I
thing.
know.
It's like, in order to keep these relationships, I can't broadcast everything.
No
I
question.
just give you a piece of certain things. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That makes sense to what I'm doing. And
yeah,
sometimes one of my mentors told me that you function, you have to treat social media like your business card. So he was saying sometimes you have to show the world because that's what people relate to. So
mm-hmm.
every now and then I give them a piece of, that life because they won't understand. It's like no one believes if they can't see it.
Yeah,
But you can literally tell me and I'll believe it. If you say
yeah,
that's what you're doing, I'm going to come to you because that's what you tell me. But no one believes you unless we live in a crazy world where everyone has their phone attached to their hand at all
yeah.
times. So people don't care unless it's validated by how many likes, how many comments,
No
who's
question.
doing this, who's doing that. For me, it's more or less like some of my I have a mentor that's old, Jewish, and rich. When I mean he's old, like very old, but he has a lot of money. And he says, I want to be him and he wants to be me.
Mm-hmm.
And in the sense of, he's like, you would live your life with no one knowing who you are. You just want them to know your brand.
Yeah,
And that's really how I function. The brand has to be bigger than me because if
yeah.
you just love me, it'll never work. Just like everything you're doing is bigger. It's bigger. It represents you. But look at it. Even your kids, they are based off your energy and your power and how great you are. Just look at them they're like a magnet to everything you're doing. I can tell like, wow, I know they're going to be great because they're a representation of you. It's the same thing with everything we're doing. It's like we just got to figure out. I don't know. This conversation is crazy because it would be different if we weren't from DC.
Yeah,
But
no
you know what I
question.
mean? But because
No
we're from
question.
home, it's like we can go into so many topics, but I really just feel like we gotta like learn how to unify and really unify.
Unify.
Like not
Yeah.
just say we're cool. And sometimes you gotta swallow that pride of if no one got hurt, your mama's safe. Nobody we gotta learn how to like work together because
Fact.
we're in a city where we can get so much done, but on the other end, we all know how to function as politicians and we don't even realize it. Everyone
Right.
in DC is a politician and don't
No
even know.
question. Yeah.
You know,
And we have a natural drive for hustle because we know we know how to hustle. We know how to grind. We know how to struggle. We know we like that's a foundation for us. That's like, you know, no one can actually take from us.
mm-hmm.
What I've seen, what we haven't been able to do is what you said is unify. You know what I'm saying? We have not mastered the art of actually unifying as a city and going out here and taking over everything. Atlanta does it all the time. New York does it all the time. You know what I'm saying? In the music business and film, TV, anything. Down south, they do it all the
It's
time.
crazy. You're right. Because it's like you could go platinum from being from New York. Literally. You could
Yeah,
be a platinum artist and all your streams come from New York City. Because if they love you and you're from New York, it don't matter what the world say.
yeah,
And it's the same for us here. Like we have enough people that we can dictate the culture. So many people steal so much from us
no
as a
question.
culture, but we let them take it. But then in turn, we're not utilizing what we have. You know what I mean? And that's the part that bothers me. Like all these different people, I know a million artists that are dope. They're all different. I know a
Mm-hmm.
million brands that are dope. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? In DC. But we don't work together in some sort of way of fashion to figure out how we can get it done. You know?
Yeah.
And
What's up?
that's
I
what
got
scares me.
my friend from Greece is in here. He gave a thumbs up.
That's
Listen,
dope.
that's what I'm
That's dope.
saying. Listen, you talk. Wait, Chuck, you went to Greece last year.
Yeah, I went to Santorini.
You went to Santa, man.
Yeah.
Tell me that Greece is not, I'm sorry, y'all, the call was coming in. Tell me that Greece is not one of the most beautiful countries.
Most beautiful. That and Greece is probably my favorite. No, I take that back. Greece was great
Yes.
for peace, meaning for me to relax and
Yeah.
reconnect. That was
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
I would definitely go back, probably stay longer,
Yeah.
but I would make sure that would be the end of my trip because I would want to
Yeah.
end it relaxing.
That's
You
your
know what I
cool
mean?
down.
Like I
That's
would
your
want
cool.
that to be because it was the most peaceful place I've been.
Man, I lived there for almost 3 years. When I tell you, it's okay. What's your number one?
Monaco,
Monaco.
Monaco.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
because coming from where we come from, I don't want it. Like when I go on vacation, I don't have to worry about certain things. Like I'm not worrying about what are they doing or so being from DC, we got like a certain radar of certain things where we understand we can see things happening before it happened. But
No
when I'm on
question.
vacation, I don't want to have to think about none of that. I just want to enjoy life for what it is, relax, enjoy the weather, enjoy the beach, enjoy the fresh air, just enjoy a peaceful time where you're not at a point of like, man, this is hectic, or losing a friend, or you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
tell people, I'm so tired of losing friends to something that it's out of style. Like
Yeah.
violence is out of style to me. All this stuff is like it's out of style to the point where it's like I just want us to grow old, enjoy life, and enjoy memories. And
Yeah.
whatever we need to do to get to that point and help the ones under us, that's what I really want to do. You know,
Yeah.
I just
I,
don't really understand.
I want to, before we, because the live is going to end soon, and
Mhm.
I want you to talk to us about, share some insight about your artists and the brands that you're working with. But
Mhm.
before we get into that, history of Woo, I think that was her or his or her. I'm sorry, I don't see the picture. Screen name. She asked or he asked, give us, tell us
How do we break the
how do we break
barriers?
the barriers in order to unify?
Um, what's up, Woo? Hold people
Is that a
accountable.
male or female? I'm sorry,
It's a
Woo.
woman. It's a
Oh,
woman.
okay, I'm sorry. I didn't. I'm sorry to see it. Hey,
What's
sis, I'm
up, Woo?
sorry.
You know, hold people accountable. Have real conversations. And we got to have real, like really real conversations. Like if you don't like something that somebody's doing, I'm not saying publicly go out and check them. Privately go talk to them about it and tell them what you don't like. I think everything can be solved with a conversation. And even if that person doesn't want to hear it, if 90 people go to them and say the same thing, it's going to resonate for them to want to change.
Mm-hmm,
And if they don't, you just know that's not going to be a part of a person that's going to help you unify. But I think
mm-hmm.
we really got to get back to the basis of just really having real conversation with people. What's up, Reed? But
What's up, Rick?
it's like really just trying to like have these conversations. I have another company called 1 Gram with Reed, E, London, Jabri. You know what I mean? And literally,
Jabri Lovelace?
yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Oh,
So
we
in
went to
this company,
school together.
we don't always agree,
Yeah,
but we have conversations to figure it out. And I
yeah,
think that's the best thing that we can do ever. Because
yeah,
sometimes I'm all over the place and so used to doing things one way that I just feel like, nah, I'm not feeling it. And then they might tell me, nah, Reek might say, Chuck, man, you got to listen sometimes and hear it from this point. And sometimes I don't always get it, but you got to listen and understand that. But being able to have that conversation to do that, I think that's the biggest thing. So that's how
yeah,
you really unify, understanding communication, and
yeah,
really, it's really fearless feedback. Let's do fearless feedback. And in
yeah,
turn, I'm comfortable with telling you what I don't like. That doesn't mean I don't like you. That just means this is something that I noticed. And eventually someone will take heed to it and they'll try to change it.
yeah. I mean,
You
Mike
know,
made a good point. He said communication is the foundation of all relationships.
absolutely.
This, the live is getting ready to end soon. Before it ends, first of all, thank you for popping your IG cherry with Tuesday Tea with Mo. I really appreciate that. And I love Chuck. I love you so much, and I have
Oh, I
so much
love you
respect
too.
for
You
you.
already know.
I mean, family, but as a man, as a human, as an artist, as an entrepreneur, so much respect for you. Talk to us before this live ends about some of the brands and some of the artists that you're working with. Kilo Letitia is like killing everything right now. Like
Yeah, Kilo is dope. Kilo is dope.
I love the direction. I love her art. Oh, it's 28 seconds. We gonna have Chuck.
Kilo's
We
dope,
might have to
but
do this again,
you
but do
gotta
it real
really
quick.
just let Kilo be her. You know what I mean? She's a
Yeah,
creative genius. Just let her be her. El Custo. El Custo is one of the most talented people I know. I do some work with Under Armour, great company. They really looked out. Shout out to Steve, Ricardo Deshawn, Doyle from
Ricardo Deshawn.
Enemies,
8
One
seconds for
Brand
3 seconds.
Agency.
Keith
You know,
opens doors. Follow.